My name's Dana Smith. Between Breath and Air is a podcast exploring holistic wellness in our modern world. I've been exploring the intersections of physical and mental health, creativity, spirituality, and social responsibility in the realms of wellness for the past decade of my dual careers as a massage therapist and life coach. And this podcast is an extension of that exploration. Join me and my guests as we look closely at the many facets of embodying whole human wellness in this achingly complex world. Hello. Welcome, my loves, to this solo episode of Between Breath and Air. I feel compelled to sit down and explain some recent changes that I've been navigating, and mainly relates to how I'm practicing in the coaching space. For the past 12 years or so, I have occupied a space in both my massage therapy practice and in the coaching realm of helping people develop their resiliency to stress, their ability to stay afloat when life is overwhelming, helping people regulate their bodies and their nervous systems. And what I've realized and have had, I think this has been off for quite some time, is that I've actually outgrown serving that space. So that has been really helpful in how I'm navigating the development of growing my coaching practice, because I realize that when I just gently shift the perspective and move away from helping people who are experiencing difficulty and discomfort and stress and kind of navigating the space that they don't want to be, and I shift it to leadership, I get way more excited. And what I realize is that the people who are experiencing all those things are inspired instead of being validated in what they don't want to experience anymore. It's a subtle shift, but it's actually freaking huge. So I'm pretty excited about this. It's funny how you can carry on and not really realize how you've pivoted until you all of a sudden see it. And then everything looks completely different. And that's where I'm sitting now. And I'm really excited. So leadership. Now, a lot of people even I have struggled with the concept of leadership, because I think most of us are exposed to leadership in like an organizational capacity. So it's like organizational leadership, or being an executive, or being in a role that is called a leader. But what I'm interested in is helping people develop their personal leadership so that they can show up in all the spaces that they do in a powerful way, because they're in their full inner authority. They know what matters to them. They have a clear vision. They're willing to be decisive. They're willing to be adaptable. Their follow through is spot on. They're practicing compassion, and they have a really beautiful practice of humility all the way along. So leadership, from that perspective, there's so many different ways of defining leadership. And of course, it always does us well to create definitions for ourselves of whatever topic we're talking about. And when we're stepping into our own personal leadership, so much opens up for us, because I can relate to times in my life where I haven't been acting in leadership. And what that means is that I'm giving power to the circumstances that I'm navigating. So I'm not behind the wheel or holding the reins per se. I'm letting my circumstances dictate what's happening. It's like, oh, I can't do that because of something outside myself, as opposed to being in complete decision of the direction that I'm going, and that anything outside of that isn't the reality that I'm working to create. So it's not being available for anything outside of the reality that I am calling into being. Now, I'm going to oversimplify this concept of leadership here too. I have a little dog. Her name is Margot, and she has taught me a lot about leadership. She relies on me to be the leader of the pack. And when I am not acting in leadership, she feels like she has to. She's a pretty anxious little being. And she, I believe, was brought into my life to teach me about this, to teach me about leadership, to teach me about what it is to create space for others who have a hard time feeling safe in the world. It's really interesting. Because I always kind of thought I'd have a dog that was like pretty happy-go-lucky and pretty grounded and chill. But that's not who came through. So little Margot, she teaches me about the importance of showing up for others. So she needs me to do that. So for example, she doesn't like other dogs because she finds them unpredictable. And there's like a power dynamic that she likes to be the one who's the boss in the dog dynamic always. And so I can help her manage the worry of being the alpha dog by being a leader for her. So when we're out walking and we're approaching another dog on leash, like she immediately, I can feel the tension in her body through her leash. I can see her hackles getting raised. I can see just the stiffness and how she's moving. She's a little bit less responsive to how I communicate with her. She is like outside herself. So there's certain things that I can do with positioning my body between her and this dog trigger. And I make sure that she's on the other side. And then she knows, okay, my human has my back. My human is creating space for me so that I don't have to manage the relationship between this unknown other dog and me. And so even just that little change of like showing her that I got this, I see that's your trigger, don't you worry, I will manage this, reinforces that I am the leader of the pack for her. And when I don't do that, she's like, oh, my human is not in control of the situation. And then she feels like she needs to step into the leadership of the pack. So I know that maybe sounds a little bit simplistic for humans because dogs are definitely intelligent beings and they teach us so much, but humans have even trickier, more complex brains. But simplicity is a good teacher too. I also see this in children. Children love good leadership also, right? I can think of times when I've been in the presence of kids, my own, others. But if you help them understand that you are in leadership, again, of the family unit or of whatever dynamic is happening in that moment, and you demonstrate to them that it's okay, I'm the adult. I understand the situation. I'm going to explain some of it to you. And then this is what we're going to do. They experience a lot more peace and they're able to like navigate the uncertainty of feelings that they might have or what have you. And I can think of times when in parenting, I wasn't able to do that. And it created a lot of upheaval for my daughter. And she would get anxious and she would get upset and she would act out because she was looking for something to anchor onto. And of course, that's a totally natural response to uncertainty, especially if you don't have the ability to self-regulate yourself yet. So that's another place where self-leadership shows up that has impacts on those around us. Now, let's imagine what it's like in the workplace. Let's say that you're an entrepreneur or you lead an organization. And this is commonly where we think of leadership, right? But if you bring all those same skills of being able to regulate your body and your emotions, to be able to demonstrate how to move through the world in a way that is in alignment with whatever vision it is that you're creating, then the people around you who are looking up to you for direction are going to feel calm in their bodies. They're going to feel the certainty of knowing that someone's got the wheel or is holding the reins or the leash or what have you, and that we're all moving together as a unit towards the shared goal or the outcome, right? So personal leadership is essential for developing organizational leadership or entrepreneurial leadership. That's what I'm really, really excited about. I want to help people occupy this space of leadership, to be the one who's making those decisions with power and with specificity. Because I honestly believe that when we are in a regulated state, we can make better decisions. So it really feeds into itself. When our bodies are calm, when our thoughts are clear, when we're rested and we're cared for and we're communicating effectively, everything works better. So this is where I'm going in the next while. This is what I'm excited about. This is where I want to invite you in. Maybe maybe you're one of those people who wants to loop in a little bit more with what I'm up to. And I feel such a renewed vitality with naming this shift for myself. This is not to say that all the resilience work that I've done with folks is out the window. I have some things that I'm cooking that I want to kind of distill, because I've helped people develop, and myself, I've developed a whole toolkit of different approaches and skills and applications for helping to regulate, this mind, body, spirit space that we all occupy. And that's one thing that I see maybe lacking in traditional leadership roles is leaders who aren't really unified in all three of those spaces end up being wonky, right? So if we don't allow ourselves to bring our whole selves into everything that we do, bring our whole vital energy, our spirituality, our regulated bodies, our intelligent, not hijacked mind and thoughts into the spaces that we occupy, it just ends up feeling disjointed, incomplete. I've noticed my clients use words like something's just not right. I don't feel myself. There's like a lack of fulfillment and like they're holding back their potential. But our power gets very distilled when we start to show up in our whole selves. And that's what I'm interested in doing for myself in this space too, is I'm going to be talking more about the stuff that I haven't really been fully open publicly about. And I guess I mean mostly about the metaphysical work that I do. Because I'm pretty good at being super brainy and, bringing in science and reason and logic and talking about things from a brain perspective as kind of a way to help people buy in to the magic. But I want to be more upfront about magic now. And I feel like that is my next edge of development because I walk my talk. I'm bringing you into kind of a real live experience of what it is to be in leadership. So I'm showing up in leadership and I'm inviting you to show up more so as well. And we're going to do it in real time together. How fun is that? I take a stand for individual wellness as an essential part to collective wellness. And collective wellness, of course, encourages and upholds individual wellness. Now, this is to make a very important distinction. This is not that I want to perpetuate individualism and separateness from the whole. Conversely, I see how the individuals make up the whole. And when the parts are well of the sum, everybody benefits. So one of the problems that I see in the personal development and healing spaces and wellness spaces is this concept of hyper individualism, like where we internalize everything. We make things that are not actually ours, like that are systemic problems, and we blame ourselves for them. And I'm interested in uprooting that because, yes, absolutely, there are systemic issues that we're affected by, but it's important to differentiate between something that is actually ours and we can actually heal and change, and or if we need to be a disruptor in the space of collective oppression. There is this quiet revolution that can occur when we invest in our individual well-being. I believe that more people than ever before are waking up and choosing their inner authority over succumbing to the numbing of systemic oppression. When we decide that our individual well-being contributes to the greater benefit of the whole, and we do our work with the vision of collective awesomeness, we're uprooting that tendency of siloing ourselves, of being in that individualism state where we are disconnected from the whole. And that's really deep healing. When we remove ourselves from harmful beliefs that we are wrong, we're not good enough, that we're tired. Like everybody's so tired. My goodness. Like I want to live in a world where we are well rested, where we have spaciousness, where we are in our lives in a way that allows us to act on creative impulses and our intuitive knowing, that we don't have to squeeze ourselves into the structures that makes up the world as it is. And the working edge for me in that is not being stuck on the how. How do we do that? But holding that vision of an elevated world where people are in leadership roles and they're deeply well, because when we are feeling good and healthy and rested and regulated and supported and in community, we make better decisions. We make decisions not based on reactivity or a wonky emotion or our ego's interpretation of what's happening. When we're able to actually go into our inner wisdom, tap into the intuition, be able to differentiate between our thoughts, our body's signals, our somatic intelligence, as well as bringing our brain on board and understanding, strategy and logic and reason, we show up whole. We show up powerfully. See, that's what I'm investing in. Those are the people that I want to support, the people in leadership who are changing the world from a place of being fully grounded, fully resourced, rested, people who know how to say no because they are completely clear on what they're devoted to and what they're creating in the world. Unwavering commitment to who they are, what they stand for, and the hill that they're willing to die on, if you will. So that's a new direction of my work. It's not new. I just feel like I've found a way to explain it in a way that feels particularly resonant. So what this looks like for me is that I feel like I'm kind of stepping away from that past incarnation of resilience work. Now, I loved it. I learned a lot, and I've just gotten to a point where I've outgrown it and I'm ready to invite in more. So I have in the past, I've worked in, like I said, in massage therapy and coaching, but I also worked in a post-secondary institution where I was helping students with their resiliency in the stressful environment of the college. And that was a really beautiful, wonderful experience to have. I was so grateful to be entrusted with this work. And the students really, from what I can tell, really benefited from the support, because we're all showing up, especially as adult learners, with different life experiences and different skills, but then they're all plunked down into this environment that is the college and all asked to do the same things. So it was really a project of helping people catch up where they didn't have the skills or the support to manage themselves and regulate themselves. And also being kind of like a triage person to help them get what they needed if they didn't have it. So it was beautiful coaching, really cool opportunity. I'm so grateful for the colleagues that I worked with there and the students who were so committed to being their best selves while in the program. It was really, really beautiful. So I bring all of that. I bring all the tens of thousands of hours that I've worked in massage therapy, helping people figure out how to be in partnership with their bodies, how to listen to what their bodies are saying, starting to build that conversation of oh, interesting. When my guts feel this way, there tends to be a link to stress. That's interesting information. Thank you, body, for showing me that. Right? So when we start to slow down and listen to our bodies, not just logically, well, what did I eat, in the past 24 hours? Oh, I must be allergic to garlic, what have you. But if you're oh, interesting, I feel bloaty and my head feels thick and foggy, that's a different message than, the cognitive interpretation of it. And it's not that any one is better, but when they all work together, this somatic intelligence, this thought and logic side of things, and then we bring in this intuition piece where sometimes we just know stuff, or maybe you always know stuff and you're good at listening to it, but believing your intuitive knowing and taking action on that really makes magic happen in every moment of your life if you want it to. All of these things feed into our experience. Through all of the work that I've done over the past bunch of years, it's really become clear to me that those three spaces of psychology, biology, and magic, or mind, body, spirit, however you want to call it, it's a thing. It's totally a thing. I've resisted it a bit because it sounds a little cliche and it's been a bit overused, but that's just my ego wanting to do it right, do it better, improve upon it. And I've made peace with it. I'm at peace with the fact that I work in the mind, body, spirit space now. And now that I've named that and I've released the resistance to it, I feel like I can bring so much because it's actually it's been around for a time because it's real. And it's many people have used that model as a way to look at whole being, whole wellness being. So before I move on from this resilience skills, because I mean, there's things that I do with almost all of my coaching clients that help them develop the skills to manage and regulate their thoughts and be aware, like thought awareness and sabotaging thoughts or saboteurs, and the way that we work with our inner counsel or the parts of ourselves. These are all good things that we learn. We also learn about, what is it to feel body sensations and feel an emotion in the body? How do you even feel emotion? A lot of people come not even knowing what that means and approaching emotion from a cognitive place. Like, okay, so I'm going to sit here and I'm going to feel my emotion and I'm going to think about feeling my emotion, but that's actually not actually feeling emotion. So we go into body, we go into describing what that's like without interpreting it or trying to understand its origins or tracing it back and following the thoughts that will inevitably arrive as we feel the emotion. Because when we can just purely feel it, it's just sensory. Like it just feels like feelings in the body and in the emotional body. And it's quite a pure and beautiful form of expression. I had to learn this as an adult. Also, so I feel like I have a lot of personal experience with that. And it's definitely helped because I can now tease apart emotions from thoughts, which tend to get all jumbled up really quickly. And of course, thoughts and emotions affect how our body feels and how our stress response is. Like if we're having a lot of unprocessed emotion gets stuck in the body, our bodies can feel really yucky. And the types of thoughts that we're having can literally influence the types of neurochemicals in our brains, which physiologically change the chemistry of our bodies, which can help or hinder our healing processes, physical healing processes. It's all connected. It's totally all connected. So this is what I want to capture. I want to capture all of these tools and approaches, these exercises, so that my clients, past, present, and future, can come to this toolbox of skills and approaches and practices to really fortify their journey. And I'm going to try and jot down all the ones and capture all the ones that I have returned to over the years that have supported myself and my clients so that it's somewhere, right? I want this to have a bigger impact than it has, because at this point, it's only my one-on-one clients who get to have this. Occasionally, people in other realms get a sample of it, but it feels too impactful to hide it away anymore. And I want to lower the barrier to entry, and I want to be able to share this with more people. So I'm creating a course. Maybe it's a course. I don't know what to call it yet. A workshop series, a toolkit. I'm not entirely sure what format it's going to come. I'm just acting on the creative impulse right now to capture it and encapsulate it because it's helped a lot of people, including myself. So let's make this accessible to more people, because if I am in leadership, and I honestly believe, which I do, that individual well-being affects collective well-being, then this is an action that I can take that feeds into my greater vision, right? The more people who are walking around the world who are in reflection and self-awareness, have a regulated body and a regulated nervous system, who have a connection to their higher self or God or whatever that greater source of inspiration and knowing is, the better. It's from this place that the world changes. Can you imagine, like, if all the people in leadership roles all over the world were coming from this completely grounded, resourced, connected place? I bet the world would be pretty different. So this is the revolution. And I'm really excited about this. Really, it's funny that it's not new to me. None of this is new, but I feel a renewed sense of invigoration for the format in which I want to share this. And I feel a renewed inspiration to make this more accessible to more people. So if you're not already on my love letter mailing list, I would encourage you to go to my website and make sure that you're on that list, because that's where I'm going to be sending the invitations to join in the first version of this workshop series, where it'll be turned into something, this toolkit, this experience, this practice support kit, this course, this workshop series, whatever it eventually will become. I invite you to jump into the first version of it because you'll get special access to it in its early stage. And I'm really, really excited to share. And I know this stuff works. I've seen it over and over again. People's use of these tools in different circumstances at different stages in their journeys. And they're always helpful. So go on, go sign up now. DanaSmithWellness.com. Should be a little pop-up spot or a spot where you can sign up for my love letter. And you'll be the first to know. Okay, thank you. I really appreciate you. I'm really glad you're here. And I can't wait to continue with this journey with you alongside. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Between Breath and Air. If you're keen to support my work, please like and subscribe to this podcast. And if you'd like to be the first to know about other stuff I'm up to, hop over to my website, DanaSmithWellness.com, and subscribe to my love letter so I can visit your inbox a couple of times per month. So until next time, let me ask you this. During this one wild and precious life, how will you use your time while your breath is not just air?